Strange Adventures issue 4. Tom King writing with Mitch Gerads and Doc Shaner on the art. So this was super exciting. This was obviously a Mr. Terrific focused issue. Obviously there was still the Strange stuff as well, but this was a lot more stuff from Terrific's POV.
I wasn't expecting this to go the noir route, and this is now like a sci-fi noir, which outside of Blade Runner, I don't know of too many, right? Like,
well, you got all the Blade Runner knockoffs.
Yeah, but that's what I mean.
Yeah.
Can you name any of those?
Altered Carbon.
Okay.
Okay, he's got one Netflix show from the last couple of years. So, the Adam stuff in this one, the Adam Strange stuff in this issue is the time where basically he's encouraged some of the people to fight with him from the not the Peck, they're the enemies, the other ones.
The Helitat.
Thank you.
Or as the racist ass Rainians call them, the Rurals. And the more I kept reading that, the more you start picking up on, that's a backloaded term, Yeah. So, but the fact that Adam, because he's so, he's an outsider to all of this, to him they're equals, right?
Yeah.
So clearly
he's
to the Rainians, they're not. So he wants to get back to them because the Zeta beam pulled him out mid-battle.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to explain. Is that's the premise of his story here? Is that he's stuck on Earth for it's maybe longer than a week. But when he's asked how long till the next beam, he said it's about a week. And he's asking Hal for transport with his lantern ring. He's asking Superman to help him, and ultimately
how good is Doc Shaner's Hal?
Very good. It felt like Silver Age Green Lantern, honestly. When
how good is Doc Shaner? You can just end there.
Yeah, that's true. You could pretty much just end there.
So. But I mean, Connor, him and King, that issue is one of my favorite things. The Green Lantern.
Oh, I know, it's so good.
So, we shouldn't be surprised, but he still manages to surprise us.
That issue is phenomenal, and it is. Mm-hmm. But we don't see Shayna draw Hal or Green Lantern in general often enough that whenever it does happen, I'm like, oh goddamn.
Do you know what's interesting here is that when we get the panels of him beaming out of the fight, right? I actually thought it was turning to Mitch Gerads' art for a second, and I was wondering, like, on a conceptual level, why is it switching to him? It's actually just the Zeta beam, but because it does this sort of distorted thing, it made me think of Mitch Gerads.
Well, that's probably on purpose too.
Yeah.
From they know that we're probably familiar with that from Mr. Miracle.
Yeah,
so.
But it was also just the fact that I thought it was interesting when we actually do see him on Earth that we're actually on Earth in Doc Shaner art now, because up until now, all the Doc Shaner stuff's been on Ran. So it was a nice kind of flip of obviously we have Terrific on Ran with Gerads' art because that's present day. So we actually flipped the art and locations this issue, which is a really nice little thing. And obviously the art there is gorgeous. Well, Gerads does the ship coming into land with Terrific. I think it looks beautiful. Proper futuristic stuff.
Yeah, so we know he's done like futuristic stuff with the New Gods, but not like this. Like, this is way more hard sci-fi than that fantasy sci-fi of the New Gods. And man, Gerads, he's another one that we can just say how great he is all the time.
Yeah.
But I feel like he keeps surprising us with like this.
I know there's a lot of artists that hate drawing this sort of stuff because they have to make, because they like drawing things, obviously, but they hate having to design spaceships and stuff like that, and and make them feel realistic and natural,
futuristic
part of the world, and futuristic, and do you do too angular, do you do too rounded, and then making that fit with everything else. Some artists absolutely hate that. I don't know if Gerads does, but he does a great job.
I feel like, because I feel like Jim Lee's the opposite, where he loves doing all that design stuff, but when it comes to actual storytelling, he's like over it at this point in his career. He's like, no, I just want to draw things.
I know, like there are some top quality artists that absolutely, if they've got the choice, won't design anything. They will do the smart thing and hire actual designers to design, and then they'll just draw their designs. And there are some high-profile ones that are insistent that it's crazy that that's not the standard, that comic artists are expected to be designers as well, because it's a completely separate skill set.
It almost makes me wonder if like DC should just have a couple of designers that they've got on staff for everyone. The idea being that they can make a cohesive, world where everything's designed by the same couple of people,
Right.
In the same way,
there's
in the same way that, like, like in Starting 52, Jim Lee sort of designed all the outfits, right, which everyone then
right.
have to copy.
For better or worse,
Almost
what
like
you
a
think about
style
those
guide.
outfits, yeah, it was the
It was
right thing to
consistent.
do.
I hated most
Yeah.
of them, but it was consistent.
Yeah.
Yeah, collars, man. Jim Lee, why do you love collars so
Yeah,
much?
yeah.
Yeah.
The designs themselves were flawed, shall we say? But the
Yeah.
idea of having, okay,
Yeah.
this is the design set
Yeah,
by one
just
artist,
a
is the right
template,
thing to do.
something to
Also,
follow.
I also like, because Garrett's art is naturally more gritty, it gives Rand a different feel. Like, I was getting
Oh
Blade Runner
yeah.
vibes.
Oh yeah.
I
As
love
he's flying
the
into the
hologram
city.
song.
It feels
Yeah,
dystopian.
right.
We'll get to the
And
song later.
it's
That's later in this issue.
right,
I
but
want to
as
I want to talk about the transition though, because you've got the transition from the stuff on Ran, and it's just he's listening to the audio message from Alana's father, and you've got basically he's been told that he's allowed to go to the library, look at whatever he wants. The pick stuff is there, but we can't translate it, so there's no point in looking at it.
which did any of you go, I know what Mr. Terrific's gonna do?
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
sure, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
But the transition, so you've got that panel where you can't even see them anymore. You just have the sound effect of the vroom as the flying cars went away. And it looks like a dystopian. There's rubble. It looks really messy. You turn the page, and it's this clean Silver Age Hal Jordan Green Lantern like landing on the airfield. This might be the most, and I mean this in a good way. It might be the most jarring transition that this book has had so far.
I agree, and it's supposed to be jarring. It's supposed to, because again, going back to this isn't Shayna telling the past and Garrett's telling the future or present. This is Shayna telling the story, and I think that's the key point here. That this is the idealized version. In the
context of this issue, that ties in nicely with the whole thing with the picked records, where Terrific actually points out, no, what you've given me to read is your propaganda, the stuff that you've curated and created. I want to read the real stuff, the unadulterated stuff that the other side was writing.
See, and I still don't trust Alana, especially at the end of this issue. I do feel like Adam is stuck in the middle. Like he's the man of two Earths. He's the hero, or the man of two worlds. He is the hero of two worlds. I don't think he has much control over anything. I think he's
not. No, he's
right.
Probably not innocent bystander, but doesn't understand what's happened.
Right, because he's trying to get back not just to his family. Like that's what he tells Hal and Superman, that he needs to get back to his family, but he needs to get back to his army. Right? They need him. There's a war going on, and and I look where Hal tells him, like, I talked to the Guardians. The Guardians are like, if a Green Lantern escorts you in there, then that's going to be seen to the rest of the galaxy as them taking sides. And normally I don't agree with them; they're always wrong. But this time I see it. So for Hal, who's the biggest, in this version of the story with Adam, right? Who's the biggest Russian, he's
the
don't
hothead.
think about things, right? For him to tell Adam, like, hey, this is going on, like, it makes me question, like, what was their actual, right, conversation about? Because if this is Adam's version of things.
Yeah, and especially, the Superman conversation as well. I'm getting those same vibes of this is definitely filtered through Adam's perspective.
Yeah, because for as well as Superman comes off in that, right, there's things that just don't add up with Superman, where he is saying, like, things that do add up are, well, Mongol's coming. I can't abandon Earth because, I have to help everyone, which means making decisions about how to help the most people. I'm not always right, but I have to decide. And right now I'm staying. We're not children. It's a war. That doesn't stick. We're not children. It's a war. Does not strike me as particularly Superman, right?
Yeah, no, it's definitely filtered through someone else's impression
through
of him.
Adam. And I'm not saying like Adam's mind controlled, but I definitely feel there's something going on with Iranian propaganda.
Maybe I think this is as simple as just what we're hearing here is the transcript of Adam's book, essentially.
Okay.
The story. And I'm not saying he's put words in Superman's mouth intentionally, but maybe he has misinterpreted or misremembered the exact quoting, and he's kind of played some of it up for dramatic effect. Maybe.
Yeah, I would go along with that line of thinking. I don't necessarily think it's intentional per se. There could be an avenue there where maybe there is kind of some of the Iran political agenda being kind of seeded in, but I don't necessarily think that's the case. I feel like it's more he's basically taken a certain meaning from what Superman said because he's angry, because he wants help and Superman's not giving it to him. He's basically taken what he said and he's remembering what he felt he said at the time, but he was actually kind of extrapolating and
right.
Yeah.
So that's what I was trying to convey, that he's been with Rand for so long now that their politics is seeping in to him, right? That as he's having this conversation with Superman, he's not taking what Superman is saying. Like he's hearing it, but he's not listening, you know?
Yeah.
And then it's coming through that filter. And then I love the page where he tries to punch Superman because he's mad. It's like your hand's broken.
Also, just I love that because they're on the moon here. I'm assuming it's the moon. Looks very moony. Just as he comes up for the punch, you can just see the lower gravity. You know, it's not even that much. It's not even like he's in a huge leap or anything. It's just enough that the body feels, you know, like it's got less weight. It's really really strong art to pull that off.
Again, Shaner's really good.
Yeah, he is. He also snuck all three of them into the issue in the scene with Hal.
Yeah. Tom King was especially noticeable.
Yeah, King's the bartender. You've got Gerrard's at the back sitting at one of the tables, and then you've got Shaner drinking behind Hal.
I think there should be a rule.
Holy shit, it is him.
I think there should be a rule that if Tom King is going to have a cameo in a comic book, he should have to draw himself. Regardless of the rest of the art.
I think they should just draw him as Tom Taylor.
That's pretty funny. Oh, see if they see if they do an issue later in this run where it's not the Shaner bit, it's the Gerrard's bit, but he draws in Tom King, and it's like no. You thought you saw Tom King because that was the fabricated version of the past.
That is the best thing to do here. In the when they inevitably show some of these scenes, not necessarily this one, but some of these scenes again, the real version with Gerrard's art, replace King with Taylor. Like, this is the real one.
You know, so seeing and I know this is going to digress from that, but I'm looking at that art because I had to go back and look for the page of Shaner, and then it clicked right. But above that you have Hal and Carol and Tom, and I'm like, where's Tom Kalamaku been in all of this?
Oh,
it just really made me think.
I can't remember the last time.
Decades.
Right?
Yeah, it's been a long last time.
And then I know Taika played him in the movie, right? Which we don't talk about because that movie's terrible.
Wait, did he? Oh my god!
Did he? I mean, it's been a long time since I've seen that.
I believe so because Ryan Reynolds has been messing with him.
That's funny. It's been so long since I've not seen it since theaters.
If I watched that movie now, I would immediately recognize him. I'm sure.
Yeah, obviously I don't know who he was at the time. So
Tom,
back to
Kalamaku.
Back on Ran. What do you think the tune is to this hologram song that's playing?
I was trying to figure it out. I can't get it. I'm hearing it as a K-pop song for some reason.
My Ran.
What's a K-pop? What's a K-pop song sound like to those that wouldn't?
Matt.
I don't even know where to start. I will leave one on my Twitter tomorrow. In the next day.
I don't know.
And people can go and see what I mean.
I don't know K-pop. Well, I can do you some. I don't know if it counts as J-pop, but baby metal.
That's J-metal.
Yeah.
J-metal. Okay, I could do you some.
Yeah. Well, because I know like certain New Japan characters come out to what sounds like pop type of stuff.
K-pop,
like
J-pop,
I'm thinking Naito.
That far.
No. So that's what I'm wondering because like Naito has this really. I think even Connor would enjoy Naito's theme. If you look up Tetsuo Naito's music, Connor, at some point. I think it's called Stardust. I think you'd enjoy it. But anyways, yeah. I had no idea what this song tune was, but it does unsettle me. There's something about the girl dressed as Adam.
I think Matt was feeling things and he's confused because it's a sexy Adam Strange.
I can admit that I find Adam Strange sexy. Like, come on. But the gender bend version,
it was surreal to kind of just see this, this female Adam Strange singing a pop song and that being the thing on Ran.
Yeah.
So, like what is that culture, right? Like,
I mean, we're getting an idea there's a lot of propaganda, so that seems to be propaganda because it seems to be in the interest of Rand to promote Adam Strange as this war hero.
Yes, but we don't make war heroes pop stars.
Well, this is Ran. They do things
No,
differently.
No. But you do turn pop stars into soldiers, right, Elvis?
Oh yeah, no, sure, you go the other way.
Right,
But
geometry,
yeah,
right?
of course.
So,
But this is
Okay,
a little bit different,
I want to
and
talk
it's
about
interesting.
the guy that he's there to see. The shit-eating grin on his face at the bottom of that page is such good,
yeah.
just art. Like I don't know.
Yeah, sorry, no, it's impossible.
Which
And
so did you take this as him saying like it is actually impossible, or he's like it's
No,
not impossible,
that
but it's impossible to you?
little column A, little column B.
Yeah, okay.
yeah, I took it directly as he's not allowed to see those. They think there's no
Right.
point, but of course he proves in the very next page that he can speak Pict. He's basically learned it. Yes.
Right, because as soon as I heard like, oh, no one can translate Pict, I was like, yeah, Mr. Terrific can. He's the third smartest man on Earth, which
Yeah.
I don't know where it came from, but someone suggested that because he's Mr. Terrific and believes in fair play, he is actually the smartest man. But either it keeps people off their game thinking he's third, or he's so humble that third's just fine.
Yeah, well, that's obviously leads to an armed force showing up in his like hotel room or wherever on Ran, and they demand that he stand down. And of course he's like, nah, T-spheres, take care of them.
I like the last one where it just kind of swings back around and bonks him on the head.
Yeah, there's some nice pacing in the humor there.
That's one of my only art problems is they use a crack sound effect for that, and I feel like a bonk would have been more effective.
A bonk, or even a dink.
Yeah, a dink. Yeah.
So then we go back to Adam, who comes back to Ran. He actually wakes up in the battlefield, and there's just tons of dead bodies. Really stark image, I thought. But some of the art from Garrus, so this is where he goes to confront Alana's father, and some of the facial expressions here, especially the page where it's just the three wide panels going down. It's not strange. A Terrific's face as he's looking at him before he slaps him. It slaps him back, I should specifically say. It looks so good. Like the expression, there's so much emotion. You can see what's going through his head in the art, and then of course he slaps him back, and he's like,
he's just the backhand as well.
Yeah, he's like, yeah. What the hell did you think fair play meant?
That might be my
fair play meant.
I was censoring it.
And that's the point. The book censors it as well, but which was a stylistic choice they made. Obviously, they're allowed to in this Black Label book.
So, like, I know he's probably too old to play Mr. Terrific, but I read this as Dennis Haysbert.
Yeah. And basically, so obviously he's confronting him about not being able to read the Pict diaries, and accuses him of the propaganda and all the rest of it. So, of course, he's basically told that he's not coming back. He's not getting help from Rand now. They're all very unhappy about this. Whereas, of course, Alana finds Adam back in the recreation, as it were, and gives him his jetpack, and he's like, "Hey, it's time to go fight for revenge," and blah blah. So we have intercutting of them flying together in the past, with modern Alana greeting Mr. Terrific arriving back home.
It's really telling how she's doing the thing for the sultry smoking, kind of being mysterious.
Every time you see her, she's blowing smoke, literally.
Yeah.
So that's not lost on me.
Basically, she's about to spring the trap that she was setting up at the end of last issue. Although the trap last issue was more obviously tied to Batman. But clearly there's something up her sleeve here for Terrific.
But Batman's not Michael Holt, right? Like, so I just feel like he's also got a trap card, that he's gonna play.
Sure.
Because what made Sardath smack Mr. Terrific was he brought up what happened to Aaliyah Strange.
Yeah.
Or Alina. Which one is it? Shit. Their names are too close.
It was Aaliyah, I think.
It's Aaliyah. Yeah.
The daughter.
You're right the first time.
What happened to your granddaughter, right? And then so they know that he knows, right? Like something's up.
Back to the art on that page with the three panels.
Yeah.
The sound effects, the slap, the first one, the black bold lettering, medium size, it's in the middle of the panel, and then the bottom one is this huge, massive slap.
He smacked the damn glasses off of him.
Yeah, but it's I mean, the art obviously it tells it without that, but even just down to the size and the lettering of these effects is sublime.
Yeah, I also want to point out the ending of this. So you've got Alana in present day saying, Michael, it's about time for you to be done. Kind of, obviously, she's got something up her sleeve. She's about to spring something on him. We'll get to that next issue. But that's not the last panel. The last panel, it cuts back to the idyllic, story version of her flying with Adam, and it's her just saying yes, always and everything for Ran. And I love how that last page is the idealistic version of her, devoting herself to her cause as she's doing something shady in present day, presumably to cover up something she did for Ran.
Presumably something for Ran. Yeah.
So it's a really nice way of ending it. By contrasting the idealism right next to the kind of the shady actual, real life, like practical implications of it.
There's a lot of books where you have two artists on it and you go, oh, two artists. And then you get this book and the two contrasting arts are used to such sublime effect. It's spectacular storytelling.
Because usually when you have two artists, though, it's not, there's not that intent. There's usually because someone's finishing because of deadlines.
That's usually like a best case scenario as well. There's a reason for a different artist, but it wasn't the original intention.
I mean, this is a rare example of clearly the choice to have the two artists was made first for artistic reasons. It's just actually the icing on the cake that it means that it's probably quite easy for them to keep the schedule because they're only doing half a book each.
Right. So, but here they are seamlessly working together to tell a cohesive story. Yeah. Like you notice when it's Shaner's art versus Garrett's, but unless it's meant to be jarring, it doesn't feel jarring because they
just look at that
the way that it's laid out.
Look at that last pair of panels. You've got just because they're side by side, so it's really easy to compare them. Garrett's has got all this shading, all this moodiness. Shaner's got flat colors. It's this bright, bold, vivid, Silver Age looking style. The basically the idea of a superhero versus the shady actual.
It's clear. It's the story versus reality.
Yeah, the price to pay for what it actually is. So it's really well done in pretty much every regard. So. No, I mean, there's a reason why this gets a sort of main event slot. It's rare that the new issue of Batman's like fourth on the list this week, and that's kind of rare. But it just so happens that there's things that rank above it,
supersede it.
So, fantastic issue, Matt. What are you giving Strange Adventures issue 4?
Yeah, this is a 9.5. It just keeps rolling on out. I love this book.
My God, Matt's in a happy mood.
I thought I was going on the high end when I was going to give it a 9. But damn, now I look like I'm just just a 9.
No, it's fine. Again, my ratings are meaningless for the most part because 7's towards the bottom.
It's a very small scale.
Yeah. So
I'm also going to go with the 9 out of 10. It's excellent. It's excellent. And I think the run's getting better as it goes because as we compound and really get to the meat, this is the same thing that happened with Mr. Miracle. It was very good for the first few issues, but once you started to really get what it was doing, because all the stuff started to come together and click, it was like a whole different world. By the time we got halfway through that book, it was kind of like, oh, now it's an event every month to read an issue of this, and I feel like we're getting to that point with this one now.
And much like Mr. Miracle, I feel like I always enjoy it more after we've talked about it.
Yeah.
Like I enjoy reading it. It's a great read, obviously.
That said, I feel
about it and we dig into it. I'm like, I like it even more now.
Yeah, but see, I feel like Mr. Miracle lends itself to unpacking, whereas this one does too. But this one's a little bit more straightforward. Like you can kind of see what they're going for more
right now. Yeah.
Yeah, right. Versus Mr. Miracle, where I remember that first issue, I came out of it not knowing if I liked it until we talked about it because we unpacked everything. So yeah.
It's a bit more digestible.
Yeah.